First things first, the head is back.
Mike's vlog.
So we want to create a new library first. We'll just call it pilots. It's easier to always make a new library and always start a new project when you're getting going. So we created a new library, new project. We're ready to start. We're going to start importing the files that we want from there. So we just go here, then you go to where they're at on your computer and just import them in. Okay, it's already getting dark. I'm gonna need a light on in a second. It's been like 40 minutes. The reason being, the next step after uploading the footage is uploading the clips from the television show we watched. I mean, people really like the clips in the show. I like that part as well. It's fun, it's funny, it helps segment the show. But I couldn't find American Gladiators anywhere. Like, when I first started doing pilots, I would just rip stuff from YouTube. I would find a downloader or whatever. That's a good way to get a virus. And it also it got harder and harder, and the clips that I would find were usually all low quality. Now with a show like American Gladiators, where it is old to begin with, it's not gonna be in HD, and that's okay. But couldn't find it anywhere. So when I actually played the show originally, I downloaded the Pluto TV app and then Chromecast it to the television, so we watched out there. Not able to watch it for whatever reason on the computer. So I had to like screen record my phone and then airdrop it onto the computer. Just a complete fucking nightmare. Because you can't make monster files, you gotta do it in like 5 to 10 minute like segments. It's been frustrating. I'm already doing laundry and dishes out there. Like, when editing, a lot of people can do it pretty quickly and sit down, but with pilots, some of these things take so long that it takes hours to do it. Even though I'm not sitting by the computer for hours, this stuff's gotta just process, and it's frustrating. So now we're gonna drop those in and get started on the next step. Once we get the file dropped in, I move it to the timeline, and something I do that is different, but I've learned it's the best way and the fastest way for me to edit, is I go through and I do all the keying in the beginning. So we'll show you what that means, that necessarily keying, but it's the part that makes the green screen invisible. And then I drop a background on, and then it's got to render. And since it's the whole file, it's usually like another 40 minutes. So we'll be taking our sweet fucking time. But let's just show you what that looks like. Okay, on the installed effects over here on the side, you'll see keying. Then when I take the keyer over and I go to drag it over the whole clip, the background changes, and now it's black. As you see what the hotspots are, your lighting needs to be kind of perfect, which is why the older episodes look the way they look, and they're not that great. So you can click this, and when you drag this sample color, you're taking out the white spots. Those are gonna give you the perfect finish that you want. And then there's also this little fill hole, which you can see takes the colors away from anything that's a little too black when we're making the whole background black. Any kind of thick shadow, that's gonna take away from that. And when you see it this way, it's fresh, it's popping, it looks good. I also imported here just a selection of stuff between pictures and the intro, the outro. You could make it every single time, and that's what idiots do, and I used to do, but since then I've kind of created this stuff and locked it in a little bit to make it speedier when I'm trying to edit. This right here is the picture of our background. Now I'm going to drag this, and you'll see once I put it there, it's created the background for us. Now this button is transform. Now I want to move this background, I want to make sure I'm on the background. I want to move it to the side so it's on the whole thing. Now we've got a background. We're gonna stretch this out and take it over the whole timeline and let this render, because it's gonna take a while to process. It's gonna go through each frame and make sure that the green screen part looks okay. And hopefully I have enough details in those shadows I took out so that you don't see, like this is some light, we're gonna have to recorrect stuff like that. You're gonna see that kind of stuff on camera if we don't visibly correct it now. Okay, we're not gonna have time today to let it render because I wanna get a vlog out. So what we're gonna start doing is just pretending like we're gonna go through the next steps. Normally I'd let it wait first, but we'll have to let it render at the very end. drop in the outro, drop in the intro. Like I said, these are things that I've taken from other episodes and I just cut that way. And then I made them their own video. And so now it's just a part of it. One thing I'm going to need for this episode is the theme song. I didn't have that on the Pluto TV thing. So we're just going to find original. Boom. Look at this. Like I said, I downloaded an app to help me than just trying to steal it off YouTube originally. That was very frustrating. So now this is just a super helpful tool that lets me capture just the audio, so I'm able to drag that in for our intro, which we'll do next. So now I'm just gonna drag the American Gladiators into there. We'll go up to this. This is the original file that I had. I paid someone online to make this for me. Okay, I want to chop this down to about 5 seconds. That seems to be the sweet spot for not getting your audio stuff copyrighted against you. Audio always goes underneath. It's just a little rule of thumb. Now that I have that, let's hear how it sounds. Do we like it from there is the question. Yeah, maybe we can even go a little bit further here and just take off this tip. I like to have a dramatic cut between the two when I'm making it. Not everyone does. This also can go louder because it's kind of a quiet clip and this is very loud. So as we come into it, yeah, that sounds a little better. All right, and then we're just gonna cut. The key to this, I'm not gonna go through this, but whenever you're learning how to edit or whatever, you can go through up and cut, but learn the hotkeys. Ask the hotkeys from everyone. If you don't know them, Google search the hotkeys. It's gonna help you. In Final Cut's case, B changes it to a blade, and when I blade, and then A goes back to the arrow. There's just little things you're gonna need to know that are super life-saving, quick little things. I don't know a lot of them. I regularly Google this kind of stuff. So that's our intro. Now we need to write over it and we need to choose a font for it. A lot of times I'll find the actual font for this. This is not important to anyone here, except for probably me. It's not really a huge part of the show. So I'm gonna use the font that I've been using lately that I like the best. It's called Cooper Black. It really fits with everything. Now we just kind of want to size these two together, figure out where they should go. I like American there, maybe Gladiators there. Let's try and bring them a little bit bigger. That looks pretty good like that. Okay, I'm gonna make this a new compound clip. The reason being is when this is one clip instead of two, I can change this very simple little thing in compositing over here to stencil alpha, and that essentially gives it the look that I'm using for the show all the time, where it makes it so it's like a drop stencil over this, so you still have your background image. You can also do this with masks as well in that section, but this is easier for me, so now we have that, and that looks pretty good to me. So on to the next thing. All right, without having to watch every second of the footage, which you will have to do a bunch of times, one of the simple things I like to do is in the timeline here, I can see the part where we took off our glasses, and I know that's the end of that segment. So if we don't break down this fucking episode, Ryan, so let's get into it. There, I know that's the end of that segment, just from looking at it. So once we have the next segment picked out where, boom, we've cut, now we're gonna move on to dropping in a piece of the actual show. So if there's something we referenced in there, we're gonna obviously look for that and try and put that in there. Otherwise, we're just trying to find a clip that is either the funniest or most relevant to that part of what we're talking about at that particular time for the show. So those clips are all over here. This one looks weird. That looks like a, oh, okay. Didn't look like the show. It looked like a weird 80s thing. Okay. The show was from the 80s, so that works. These ones are sideways, so we're going to have to actually take them, and when we drop them into our timeline, they're going to be vertical like that. So we'll have to rotate them around, but that takes 2 seconds to do that. And so that's what we're doing right now, is we're going to move through the episode and just cut with our Shift B and then paste in different parts that we think are funny. So as we're working our way through the episode, we're dropping in clips. The next thing is we got to watch the part where Ryan calls over the flight attendant. A lot of times Ryan likes to come up with something that's fucking insane, and I have to try and track down some weird clip. So let's see what he did.
Gladiators, mount up.
Mount up.
Mount up?
Wow.
Isn't it gladiators ready? Contestants ready?
Regulators.
Okay, so we'll see if we can put the regular clip in here of the ding, or maybe we should just go and get Regulators the song and try and get a clip of that instead. In the same way that I grabbed the American Gladiators theme music, I grabbed the Warren G Regulators clip. So now let's find the spot where Ryan points up and would touch the button, supposing there was a button, and add in the Regulators clip.
Mount up.
Okay, we're gonna zoom in on the timeline a little bit just to find that spot where his hands kind of hit. Go frame by frame, right about there, looks good. If you hit M, again, hotkeys, that'll mark the spot. So now we're gonna drag in our, okay, I found the spot. Let's try and find out how it sounds with Ryan, with him saying it. Maybe we should match his, I'm not sure. We gotta kind of listen to it.
Mount up.
Yeah, that sounds good. My laughing, though, is going to be bad throughout, so we'll turn the audio up there, and then we'll cut, and we'll just move on to the next part. Let's roll. Last thing we need to set straight before we watch the whole thing through and just double check it, how it looks, is just the ending. We just got to cut this out.
Are we done? Yeah, you go. Thanks for watching.
Okay, ready? Thanks for...
So when we see it like that, we're going to zoom in. And I give it a couple of other seconds ahead of it, as long as there's no noise, because of the transitions I use. Now, transitions are the last thing you have over here. There's so many, if you scroll through my list, there's so many free ones, you know? All of this is so easy. They show you how to put them into Final Cut Pro. Like, the world we live in now is amazing, and how much free stuff you can get and use out there. I use, I think it's this one. Yeah, I use this one, and when I drop it in, it zooms in and it pans up just like it says, but that makes the screen look pretty cool, like we're flying up. And then I use the audio sound effect of the jet flying, and that's how I transition our episodes. So that's pretty much it. Now we're basically just gonna cut here at some point along this. It goes right into our outro right after that, and it'll flow right to the ending. So we'll rewatch it, make sure we haven't made any mistakes, make sure the clips that we use are funny and all relevant, and then we're ready to post it. Now I just have a shit ton more time because, as you can see, none of this is rendered. It's at 0% now. We've gone back in time. That was just a little glimpse of how I edit my specific YouTube show. And the reason I wanted to show you that was my taste. That's my style. That's what I've grown to make things that kind of look like that over and over. It took time to get the green screen down. You know, we didn't light it properly when we were first doing it. You could see that in our old episodes. And it's gotten better over time. That's the fun part about editing. You can get better very easily. You just Google search something and all of a sudden you learn how to do it. Someone out there is showing you how to do that. I mean, it goes with everything in this world, but very much with editing. There's so much to learn that's like pretty simple that you would never even know that you can do. So that was the fun part about showing that. The other thing I want to talk about is taste. Now, I hate on television shows or YouTube shows where they show you what's going to be in it throughout it as a teaser in the beginning, and then they go to the intro and they go through the show, and then that part shows up again. I can't stand that. I think that's like the most tasteless thing you can do when it comes to editing, but everyone, again, has got their own styles and likes. Just that before the break, after the break, coming up, I'm like, I've seen the same clip 5 times, I don't want to see it again. So that stuff frustrates me. In which case, I'm going to show you now something that is not my taste at all in editing. It's not something I put in my videos or the way that I do my videos, but I want to just do it just so you see how strikingly different it is when I do something off-brand for me because, you know, we all get our own stuck in our ways. So I've got a package here. It's from Sean Ely. Thank you very much, Sean. 1/2 of number 6 with cheese. Obviously, I'll link his stuff, but I'll link it later because here it is. Oh, this is hard to get there. Here it is right here. And we're not going to look at it today. You'll have to come back tomorrow and find out what's in it.